Record 16, Side 1, Lesson number 16, the 16th lesson, Practical section, at the travel agency.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. What can I do for you?
I'd like some information about holidays abroad. Summer holidays, I mean.
Certainly, sir. Have you anything particular in mind? Europe, perhaps? Or further afield?
Well, we are not quite sure. It all depends on costs and time. We shall have a month free in summer and should like to have a special holiday this year.
Very good, madam. Something special. A Mediterranean cruise, a tour of Middle East countries, Bermuda, Russia and the East European countries.
How long would a Mediterranean cruise last? 2 weeks?
That's not very long, John.
There's a cruise lasting 3 weeks, with stops in the principal Mediterranean cities and ports for 2 or 3 days in 1 or 2 cases.
If we wished to go to Bermuda, would you recommend traveling by air or by sea?
It's really a matter of personal taste, sir. If you desire to spend more time in Bermuda, then traveling by air is the solution. But if you feel that the voyage is part of your holiday, then I would advise that, provided, of course, Madam and yourself are reasonably good sailors.
Oh, that would be wonderful. We are not at all troubled by seasickness, as a rule.
But have you forgotten that we might travel across Europe by train and visit a number of those countries in Eastern Europe which we read about so often in the newspapers? Hungary, Poland, Russia, and so on.
No, I haven't forgotten. But I thought it might be rather tiring to do so much travelling by rail, unless we stopped for a few days in each town or city.
If I may make a suggestion, you might fly to Moscow or Leningrad, and also between the more distant cities. Trains would be useful for shorter journeys inside each country, perhaps.
That sounds more interesting, but the choice is still going to be very difficult. It really is a problem.
What will the weather be like in July or August in these places? We don't want too hot a climate, but we do want sunshine.
Any one of these places would suit you, madam. It is, of course, difficult to predict the weather, but one can expect it to be hotter than here at home, though perhaps not excessively so.
I suppose that's right. It's impossible to know exactly.
What about fares and hotel charges? In other words, what would a holiday in one of those places cost for 3 weeks?
That really depends on many factors, madam. Tourist or first-class travel accommodation, the type of hotel, boarding house, or perhaps private villa one would desire.
Let's return to your first suggestion, the Mediterranean cruise. What port do we leave from, and how long does the cruise last?
We have cruises leaving from Southampton once every 2 weeks during the summer months, sir. The cruise normally lasts 3 weeks from the date of departure to date of return to England.
How much would this holiday cost, travelling first class?
£125, sir, all in. There are also organized trips in the principal ports of call, but the passengers are not completely tied to conducted tours. There's a great deal of time for the passengers to visit places of interest not included in the official itinerary.
What do you think of the idea, Mary?
It all sounds lovely, and I think I agree with you. Shall we book right away? Or do you think we ought to give the matter some further consideration?
Please excuse me if I mention an important point. These cruises are usually booked months before, so I should advise you to keep that in mind. Of course, that doesn't oblige you to book immediately.
Exactly. However, I think we shall book now. Then we can really dream of the wonderful holiday that is ahead, instead of wondering whether to go or not.
It's so exciting now that we have decided exactly where to spend our holiday.
Side 2, grammatical section. Some, any, no, none. When an indefinite quantity is intended, whether numerical in the plural or a substance in the singular, the quantitative adjectives and pronouns some and any are used. Some is used in 1. Affirmative sentences. I have some money. John has some books. Give me some milk, please. 2. Questions, when an affirmative reply is expected or desired. Will you have some tea? Shall I bring you some cigarettes? Have you bought some apples? Is there someone at the door? Any is used in 1. Negative sentences and after quasi-negatives like hardly, scarcely, without. The children haven't any sweets. You didn't give me any money. Peter and Joe haven't given Mary any driving instruction today. There are hardly any chocolates in this box. 2. Statements expressing doubt or in questions. Have you any money, Tom? I don't think there is any milk in the refrigerator. 3. Sentences when it means no particular, practically every. Any good dictionary will serve. Anyone will tell you where he lives. No is a negative adjective and used sometimes in preference to not any. We have no bananas. We haven't any bananas. There is no milk in the house. There isn't any milk in the house. None is always a pronoun, but is not often used as a subject unless followed by a specification, or the person or thing it represents has just been mentioned. Have you any cigarettes? No, I've none. None of them came. Our friends went to the cinema, but none enjoyed the film. I've seen none of them this week. The compounds of some, any, no, none follow the same rules. For persons, someone, anyone, no one. Somebody, anybody, nobody. For things, something, anything, nothing. I saw someone at the garden gate. They didn't give anyone anything. Somebody came to see you this afternoon, but didn't leave his name. Anything you do will be useful. Nobody has come for this parcel yet. Has no one prepared the lesson? The passive voice. The passive voice is formed by using the appropriate tense of the verb to be, followed by the past participle of the principal transitive verb. Intransitive verbs cannot be used in the passive voice. He was seen. The book was read. They had been given a present. When the agent is mentioned, it is preceded by the preposition by. The cake was eaten by Tom. The work has been done by the young man. The music will be played by the orchestra. However, the agent is very often superfluous, as in the following examples. Active, people called him a fool. Passive, he was called a fool. They held a party for him. A party was held for him. Sometimes it is used in an impersonal construction. It is said, he is very clever, or he is said to be very clever. Note that the passive voice is used for the following reasons. A. To emphasize the action done. He shot the rabbit. The rabbit was shot. B. For convenience, sometimes, or to obtain a more interesting construction. Someone has given us tickets for the theater. We have been given tickets for the theater. People speak English in many countries of the world. English is spoken in many countries of the world. C. When the doer of the action is unknown. One makes cheese from milk. Cheese is made from milk The conditional tense, first part. The conditional tense is formed in English by using the past tense of shall, should, and of will, would, followed by the infinitive without to of the principal verb. I should go, you would come. He would study. We should write, you would make, they would build. If you worked, they would work too. They said their friends would come in the afternoon. What would you do if the teacher asked you the lesson?